Good morning. Monday morning. Start of a new week. I am tired. I definitely get why so many people don't like Mondays at all. And I am not a big fan. I'm not Garfield. I don't hate Mondays, but it's just after the weekend, you're all relaxed all weekend, and I don't really get up super late anymore, but I definitely don't get up early on the weekend, and so it's just kind of sitting back and relaxed. But then Monday rolls around and get up early, and it just always feels like you're running a little behind. But I know some people really don't like it when they don't enjoy their job, and I like my job pretty good, so I don't really mind Mondays too much. It's mainly just, getting up first time of the week, getting out early. But it's summertime, so the sun's out, and that's nice. I know that in the winter it is so hard getting up and out on early mornings because it's just all dark outside still. Hard to do much. But in the summer it's nice and bright. Already up and about. I kind of like having the sunlight, there all day, or at least more of the day. It's nice, but I definitely am not a big fan of the heat, which, living in West Texas, you get a lot of the heat, but I'm not a huge fan of triple digits, so I think I prefer winter. Fall or winter, one of those is probably my favorite season of the year. I think it's probably fall. Maybe winter. I don't know. I just like all the holidays around there. I really enjoy spending time with family, so it's good to just get out, visit with family. And although we do that most of the year, it's good at those times. Excuse me. It's good at those times of the year because everybody kind of gets there together, and so you get more of a everybody is able to get there. We mainly get together with our immediate families, my wife and I. Either spend the holiday with her parents or my parents, and just whatever siblings show up. We used to go and visit my extended family more. And like when we're with my parents, we get to see my mom's family a lot because they all come down there. But when we're with my wife's parents, not many of her family shows up other than her siblings. So it's nice to get to see a bit more. We used to go visit my dad's side of the family more often. Growing up, every year we'd go and see them. But once we had a little kid, it got a lot harder just to see family, really to travel that far, because it's a 8.5-9 hour drive to go see my dad's family, so it's kind of hard to do for us with a little kid, because my wife and I tend to be a little more careful. I know that a lot of people just kind of do it, and then if their kid gets upset, they just kind of deal with it, but we'd like to wait until our kids are more ready for long drives before we do anything like that. But I kind of want to see if we can go this year. I'm hoping we can, because it's been a couple of years since we went down there and saw everybody. But it's just, we didn't want to take a little baby. My daughter's going to be almost 2.5 by the holidays this year, so I think that'll be plenty old enough to deal with it. We're just going to have to make some more stops in the car, maybe take a full day instead of a half, or instead of just 8 hours, maybe take a few extra stops, make it longer, but we'll see, because I want to make sure that my wife's good with that, and we have the time, because it is hard to do in a very short time. You need something like 4 days at least. But I'd rather not fly. I don't really mind flying, but I'm not the biggest fan of flying, because I feel like there's a lot of fun in a road trip, even if it's just going straight somewhere and not really making many stops. It's good to get out and about. I really like, seeing the countryside and just getting to see all the different areas you drive through. My family goes up to the mountains in Colorado for vacation a lot, and it's about a 8-hour drive or so that way as well. But growing up, we always made that for vacation, or would drive all the way to California and go to Disneyland. My parents would save up a lot of money, and then we would do Disney cheap. My wife was, when we first kind of met and were dating, we talked about it, and she was surprised, because my family's not rich at all, and especially growing up, we didn't have a ton. We had enough, but we were always saving where we could, and she was surprised we could go to Disneyland, because my wife had only ever known people who flew there and then did really extravagant trips, and she didn't really realize you could go to Disneyland on more of a budget. And you can't do it on a tight budget, but you can definitely budget it to where it's manageable. And we went this past year. My parents took us, and I think she realized that it's a lot more fun than she thought it could be, but also not as expensive as she was worried it might be. But so we would take a couple of years going to the mountains, just doing camping, a little bit of a less expensive vacation, and then we would save up money growing up to go to Disney. But anyway, we would drive for vacation, whether we were going somewhere nearby or even if we were going to Disneyland from Texas, which is a 2-day drive. It's a lot, but we always made a lot of fun out of it, and I really enjoyed it growing up. I mean, we just had like a little movie player, and we would sit in the back and watch movies, and then we would also just stop at a lot of different places, kind of see some different sights. There was one place we always stopped that was called I think it was the General Sherman Tank Museum, and it's just in the middle of the desert. I can't remember whether it's in Nevada or California, but somewhere it's kind of it's in the desert. I know that, so I think it might be just over the border from Nevada to California, but not past the mountains into the greener parts of California yet. And like, it was always like 100 and something degrees, and they just have like, I don't remember how many, I haven't been in a while, but like 30 to 50 tanks, like just out, and you could tour them all and see all the different types of tanks they had on display. And then inside was some kind of general war history, but we always did fun stuff like that, and a lot of stops, and I always just really enjoyed that. So I like road trips, and kind of wish we could take more of them, but it's very hard with a young child to be in the car for a long time. Start taking some more soon. Oh, this is time for part 2. You know, uh-oh, I think I turned it off. Nope, okay. I definitely think that I can be stubborn sometimes, but it is annoying how often when you're just trying to work with somebody that they are even more stubborn and just will not budge. Uh-oh. Cut out. No. Okay. My headphone keeps cutting out, but as I was saying, just so many people are really trying business to do everything possible to avoid any sort of liability or just any responsibility, really, is what it comes down to. Because I've just been having to deal with people this morning at work who just really do not want to put their name on the decisions that are being made, or not wanting to provide any information. And it is just very annoying, because I mean, you'll send somebody something and then they don't respond for 2 months, and then try to act like it's your fault that they didn't get something done, because you should have been asking them every single day, apparently. And just even when you ask somebody every single day, they say, well, I haven't seen this in like 2 months, and then you don't want to be rude and send an email showing every single email you've sent them that proves that you've been asking them every single week for the past 2 to 3 months. But at the same time, they're blaming you, so you kind of just want to say, hey, look, I've done my part. This is on you for not getting it together. But it's hard to hold people accountable like that, but also be polite. And when it's your customers, you really don't want to be rude. So it's hard to deal with sometimes, because you just really want people to just do it. And if they're wrong, just say, oh, sorry, I missed this, or I forgot about it. Let me get that for you, instead of just trying to shift it onto you. But it just feels like a side effect of just the way a lot of business is done these days, where people are always kind of trying to blame somebody when things go wrong instead of just saying, well, things go wrong. And it'd be nice if more people would just let people make mistakes as well, because so many times people just kind of expect you to be perfect in business and do everything without asking questions. And I just really don't feel like that's what's best. You really should encourage people to ask questions and encourage people to admit when they were wrong, not try and take advantage of every single opportunity you see. Because if somebody makes a mistake in their wording or says, hey, we're going to agree to this price, but we accidentally mischarged you, and so we charged you less than we should have, can you pay some more? It's just like, I feel like everybody in business should just be forthright and honest and really just say, hey, yeah, we said we'd pay this much, but y'all accidentally charged us a lower amount, and we'll just pay the difference this time or next time. Or, hey, we said we'll pay you every month. We'll pay you every month. Hey, you didn't pay us, could you pay it? Oh yeah, no problem. But it always ends up being just where everybody wants to take advantage of everybody else, it feels like. And I just don't enjoy that about business. It just seems like so many times it's people trying to make an extra cent everywhere they can. And everyone's trying to charge as much as they can, but say that they aren't allowed to be charged more than that. I know with my job I've had to deal with just like credit card processing rules and regulations, and it's kind of ridiculous sometimes, because like a lot of the credit card processors, I think it's almost all of them, but they'll charge you a percentage of the transaction as a fee, and then they'll also charge you a bunch of rates on top of that, and it comes out to a pretty big fee. And then they say, but you are not allowed to charge that to your end users. And like, I do not want to pay a fee when I use my credit card somewhere. Like, I don't want to pay it, but they just require you to not communicate that and not say, hey, we're getting charged like this much, and this much to accept this, so we're kind of going to need this fee from you. Instead, they just say, well, you can't say that, so you're going to have to just charge your customers more and not tell them why. And I really just, I wish I could just run a business where everything was public information and I could just do the accounting and like publish the accounting somewhere so everyone can see this is exactly what we charge and how much we make, and this is what you're being charged for. But everyone wants to keep everything secret so that it's just so that people feel like they're getting a better deal. It just feels so, just, I don't know, it's not underhanded, because like everyone's being charged the amount they're being charged regardless. But like, so many people just say, okay, we're going to charge you this amount, and then you get this discount and that discount. And like with my internet, I think I'm technically charged like $120 a month for my internet service, but then they've attached a permanent discount for because I signed up during some special sale of like $70, so I'm only really charged $55 a month. And that's all I've ever been charged. But they always say they're charging me more and giving me a discount. And it's just like, why can't you just say that you're going to charge me $55 a month? I mean, is it really that much more important to act like I'm getting a deal? But everyone just does that, and it's kind of expected as you do business. Everyone kind of expects discounts and this and that. I'd really just prefer if everyone said, hey, this is how much we're charging you. Deal with it. And not put all these extra rules and regulations and 20-page long agreements for just the most simple things. Like, there's just to buy a phone, you have to sign something that's like 30 pages long that says you're not going to do this and that, and you'll never do anything illegal with the phone, and if you do, that the company's not responsible for what you do on your own phone. And then they still try and control your phone so you can't do anything against the agreement. It's just so much extra layers because we don't trust each other, and because nobody's willing to take responsibility for anything. And every time it just ends up making everything so much harder and costing tons of extra time and money just so that you can say, well, we didn't say that originally, so we're going to get an extra 5 cents a month out of you. I'm just kind of getting tired of all that, and I think that's why I'm so interested in IT and maybe even like getting out of accounting eventually, because I'd like to do something where I don't feel like there's all these hoops I have to jump through to do my work. I can just talk to somebody and do something and it's done. I don't know if there's any simple jobs like that left anymore, though. At least not in business, which is kind of the direction I went with my college degree. But I'm just thinking more and more it'd be nice to do something where I wasn't so involved in all the jumping through hoops part of it. I'd like to do something where I just do my work and the work gets done, and that's that. But I guess it's not really possible to do that anywhere anymore, because even if you're just, on an assembly line, you're going to have to meet quotas and find these different things, mark down hours, and register any issues that come up, and deal with insurance. It's all just a lot more complicated than I wish, I liked back in school, it's so simple because you can just do your work and then it's done. You don't have any lingering issues once something's done. But it's hard to just do an honest day's work and be able to get it out of the way and not worry about it the next day. It'd be a lot easier to go day to day at work, but I know that that's not entirely how business works. It's just kind of hard to manage, and I think people intentionally make it difficult to navigate just because they don't want to have to deal with all of the issues that come up. But, maybe it'll get easier one day. I don't know. And back for the third one. I was talking to my wife at lunch, and I think I'm just having a hard time really fitting in with the kind of work culture that's being developed at my current job, because I don't know, it's just more of that workaholic. Everyone in the upper management seems to be constantly working all the time, working long hours, and just really trying to make sure everything's perfect and every customer is happy as can be, and just throwing everything they got into it. And I just don't think that's me. Like, I am gonna always give everything I can to the work I have. It's just, I'm not gonna give up my time outside of work. I'm not gonna try and make up excuses just to make somebody happy. I don't think that's 100% for me. And I enjoy more problem solving and, doing something like that and figuring out the math. I don't enjoy customer support. I don't enjoy interacting with a bunch of customers on the phone and taking phone calls. It's just not what I'm looking for. And so it's just hard, because it's very hard to find a good job these days. It is a good job where I work, and I like the people. It's just, I just don't know if I fit in there as much anymore, and I think they're just looking more for someone who's really just a people pleaser, and I'm just not that. It's just hard, because I don't want to leave too, because I like my work, and I know that if I leave, they're going to struggle for a little bit. And I do a lot of stuff that is hard to replace. But at the same time, it's just can only do so much, and I'm really not ready to put it all through the job just to end up not enjoying it at the end of the day. My headphone keeps saying it's pairing, so I really hope that this is all being recorded. But I think that's the other one. But anyway. But on this I've been saying a lot of just whatever comes to mind. I'm not really filtering myself on here, which is the way I wanted it to be, but sometimes it's not that great to just say what's on your mind without even taking the time to form the words correctly, and just like right now I'm just saying things as they come into my head, and I'm almost talking before I'm able to fully think it through just to fill the time. But I think that's kind of something that's hard about doing anything online, is you don't want a lot of dead air. You want to just talk through most of it, but it's really hard to actually keep talking but also think about what you're going to say. So it's one of the reasons I've shared this podcast with my wife so far, but I have not told anybody else about it, just because I don't know if I'm worried about what people think, or just like I was complaining about my work a lot today, and I don't want to just be a complainer, and I don't want people at my work to listen to this and then think that I'm ungrateful for the job, or that I don't like them, or that I hate my job, because I don't. It's just talking about whatever comes to mind often brings up a lot of things that are just off the top of your head, and you don't always fully 100% believe in what you're saying, because there's a lot of things where you just are complaining, and comes up with different things, and you just start talking about them, and you're not really paying that much attention to what you're saying, and then you just kind of get over enthusiastic, because I really do enjoy most parts of my job. It's just some of the customers are pretty annoying at times, but when I'm talking about that, I'm gonna sound like I hate my job, and it's just hard to filter yourself constantly, and so I end up not saying much a lot of times, because I don't want to speak out of turn or say something I don't know everything about or not 100% sure about. I want to make sure that when I say things to people, I'm always 100% behind what I'm saying, and I'm not gonna regret it later. But with a podcast, I can't really do that. And so, just take anything I say with a grain of salt, because opinions change and everything changes over time, really. But I'm doing this kind of to let my thoughts out, kind of just for fun. But it's ending up being a lot more off the cuff, and so people might get offended or might disagree with what I'm saying, and so I guess that's why I'm worried about. I'm hesitant to share this with people I know, is because they don't always see this side of me. I'm trying not to really cover anything up, and I usually try not to anyway, especially like with my family. I don't try and hide things, but some things you just don't bring up because it'll make people uncomfortable, and like you never want to talk about politics at the dinner table is a popular saying, which I definitely get, because when you have different views, sometimes people get passionate about it and really get mad about disagreements on it. So it's hard to kind of make everything publicly known and to put out your opinions where just anybody can see them, because it's never going to be 100% what you want people to hear. But I think maybe we need more of that. I think I need more of just being able to talk without a filter and not worry about it, because I've known a lot of people who just talk without a filter and use that as an excuse to just say whatever they want and not take any accountability for it, just saying, oh, I have no filter, that. Or people who say that they're just being blunt when really they're being hurtful. And I don't want to come off like that, but at the same time, I just get tired of trying so hard in every conversation to think about every little thing. And sometimes I just want to talk without fearing any consequences from that, without being worried about people getting mad or people looking into what I say more than just what it is. The only person I really feel like I can talk to like that is my wife, because I feel like she always understands me and just doesn't get critical when I just say whatever I'm thinking. She always lets me just let out my thoughts. But it's hard to do that with other people, because if you're worried if you say the wrong thing or they take it the wrong way, it'll end in disaster. But maybe that's kind of something that this podcast is an exercise for me, is just not being so reserved and being able to just speak, and hopefully I don't just speak without thinking at all, but being able to not be quite so careful with curtailing what I say. I've always also just had trouble with talking for long times because I always want to think of the words to say, so it leads to a lot of hesitation, and I just did it there. Different just pauses when I talk and really breaking up the rhythm. And I'm trying to get better about that. I'm trying to just be able to solidify my thoughts into words without so much forethought and hesitation in between. But it's really difficult, and especially like on the phone. Earlier today I was on the phone with somebody and I just felt like every other sentence I was pausing for way too long to think about what I was going to say next, but I don't always know what to say next, and it makes me worried because I'm not wanting to upset anyone, like I said, and I don't want anyone to misunderstand me, so I'm just always being careful. And now I just want to be able to talk and not worry so much about that, and be able to openly speak without trying to hesitate and think about everything so much. A lot of times when I hesitate, though, it's not really to think of a more complex thought or think through something. It's just that I can't find exactly the right words to say, It's hard to always have the right word on the tip of your tongue. And I like to think of myself as someone who's a bit more eloquent, and I can use a wider vocabulary to better articulate what I'm saying, but it's kind of funny because people really don't expect that with my accent. I've run into a lot of cases where people kind of hear my accent and don't assume that I'm dumb, but assume I'm kind of less, just less able to speak correctly. People assume that in order to speak correctly, you need to have a very proper accent, but I feel like I do pretty good with my accent, but I still get plenty of words in and am able to articulate my thoughts with more robust words and not just using simple phrases all the time. I know some people get annoyed with it because they might not understand every single word I say, but I read a lot as a kid, and so I ended up absorbing a lot of that language from different sources, and I like to incorporate it all. Well, that's all I got time for now, so be back in a bit. And we're back. No idea what I was talking about before once again. I really should plan these things better, but it's hard to kind of plan for something when you do a few hours of stuff in between. Oh well. Oh. Before I started recording on the way, I thought it was like a 15-minute drive. But once I started recording, I realized it was only really a 12-minute drive plus a couple more minutes to, walk out and walk in from whatever building I'm going to. So it ends up being about 15 minutes, but only a 12-minute drive. So it ends up being about a 45-minute a day recording, which is a lot, but not much at the same time. Oh, I think I was talking earlier about something about showing people this podcast. And, I thought about that some more. And, it's hard because I'm naturally just a more private person, I guess. I prefer to keep to myself most of the time and don't really... I'm not antisocial, but I'm definitely more of an introvert, as it were. And so I end up a lot of the time just kind of sticking to myself and having a hard time putting myself out there. And I guess that's what I'm kind of worried about, is I feel that same way about this podcast is putting myself out there feels like if I share it with friends and family, whereas if I'm just on my own and don't share it with anybody, it really seems private, even though it's fully public and out there on the internet. It just doesn't seem quite as out there when people I know are probably not going to find it. Especially because I made a different account for it than my personal, so it's going to be a more difficult to find thing, just kind of lost in the haystack. But I'm thinking I probably should, and I probably will tell people about it, just because it's good to share with people, and I kind of want to get out there a little more and be more social. I know one of my hobbies is tabletop wargaming, as I've said, and specifically the game Star Wars Legion, and it's a 2-player game, and I haven't played in well over a year now, just because it takes a lot of time, but I think it's mainly just because I don't feel quite socially comfortable enough to reach out and ask somebody to meet up and play. I did one shorter game of a kind of smaller version they have of it that's only individual squads, and it was fun. Got to meet up with somebody at my preferred local game store and play a game, and it was fun, but it just felt kind of rushed too. I always feel kind of rushed with it. I don't like spending long periods of time out on my own anymore. Like, I barely get enough time with my family as it is, because I have to work for so many hours of the day and spend another hour just traveling back and forth to and from work, that it really seems like I don't have enough time to spend with them, so I don't want to spend a Thursday night, take 4 hours away from my family to go and play a game. That it feels a little selfish, but it also just, I don't get enough time already, and I want to spend that time with them. And I mean, my daughter needs to be asleep by the time I would get back from that, so even if I just went straight from work and didn't even go home, she'd be asleep and I wouldn't even see her all day hardly. Or if I instead just waited for the weekend, I could wait for her to nap, and if she takes a good 2.5 hour nap, then that's half of it, but then the other half I'm still just leaving them at home alone and going off to do my own thing, and I don't enjoy doing that. I enjoy spending time with my family, or at least being where they can get me. When the last game I played was with my brother-in-law, and he's great. We are into a lot of the same games, and I always have fun playing games with him and his friends, and I've become friends with them too, so they're our friends really, but he's real good about inviting me over because I have a hard time reaching out, and so he invites me to play games with him, and I have a lot of fun when I do, but it is hard to take that time away to do that. It's even harder when it's with a stranger, because you don't know how it's going to go, you don't know if it's going to be fun, and so it just doesn't feel worth the risk to spend that time away from family if you don't even know if you're going to have fun. What I'd like to do is to build my own little table for it at home so I can set it up and tear it down, and then invite somebody over and play a game in my kitchen or in the dining room. and so I could still be there with my family. But I know that for most people, like most of the guys playing it are single guys in their early 20s. They don't want to go over and listen to kids shows like Winnie the Pooh and Bluey and Blue's Clues while they're playing. They want to go to a store and talk with some guys. And I would feel a little too awkward inviting somebody into my home to play that I didn't already know and have a good friendship with. But at the same time, I don't really feel comfortable getting out, and so it just ends up being kind of difficult to work out to where it'll all work. And so I end up just not playing any games hardly at all. But I'd really like to. I think I could set up a home table, try a game out on my own, relearn the rules, and then maybe I could invite some people I know who are into it over, because then that would let me get in some games without feeling quite so awkward. But then I guess I should probably try and go out every once in a while to play. If they have a tournament, I might do that just because it's a little more of an opportunity to have more games with more people and less time away because it's a single day. And I could maybe even take a break and run home. It's really hard, balancing work and family, and at the same time balancing just hobbies with time with your wife and kids. It just doesn't feel like there's enough time in the day sometimes, and it'd be nice if it all lined up a little easier, but it just doesn't sometimes, so you gotta do what you gotta do. Thought about if better times working would work, because if I could work with the shift from like 7 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I feel like I'd have a better time with that, waking up around 6 and then being able to get home and spend time with my family or go out and then still have time with them at night. It's a lot different being an adult, because as a kid you go to school and then you come home and you already have so much time with your family. It feels like that you just kind of want to get out and do different things, and I don't know, it feels like as a kid you don't appreciate the time you do have with your family as much. Even just sitting on the couch together, idly talking while there's a show on, it seems so much more important as an adult. It just means so much more. I'm glad that I've kind of reached that point where I want that connection more than I want to go have fun. But it does make the balance a bit harder when you value them more closely. Well, I guess I value time with family a lot more than I value just going out and having fun on my own, because I always give up fun on my own if I can spend some time with family. But what's best is when you can do both. And so I like visiting with my family, and I want to try and visit more with them and get them to come over. And if I could get family to come over and spend some time while having fun playing a game like that, I think that'd be the ideal. But that is all the time I have day.